Hey everybody, McNeil here.
And Becca as well, and welcome back to another episode of Geeking Out.
In the past, we've talked about our geek coming out stories, and today we're going to be taking a page from Miles J with a nostalgia tag, but with a geeky twist.
Oh, most certainly. Neil and I are going to share a few of our most sentimental items from our past as best as we can share them. We all live in Los Angeles now, and we didn't grow up here. We couldn't go home and take stuff from our mom.
These are items that have brought us up in the geek world, and we figured that some of you might associate with as well.
Now, I think I'm going to kick things off here with a unsurprising debut. Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #1.
Did you guys know that Becca likes kittypryde.tumblr.com?
This was not the very first comic I ever read. That is issue 1. The Days of Past arc, as I have said many, many times before. But Kitty Pryde and Wolverine was, again, one of the foundational comic arcs that I read in my time. The first really Marvel miniseries I ever encountered, and of course starred my favorite Chicago-born Jewish smart girl with powers, Kitty Pryde. It's a ridiculous arc. I've been rereading it recently and I forgot just how beautifully cheesy it was. It was just such a fun arc, and it was so like Kitty being like, Colossus broke my heart, but you know what? I can do something cool and I can protect my family, and it was like a lot of her values and her strength and her being really powerful on her own, and then having that great friendship that she always has with Wolverine, with the two of them, and it was really that buddy cop movie that Wolverine should have been and wasn't.
Damn you, Yukio.
But unsurprisingly, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #1, one of my nostalgia items.
And it also led to Kitty being a pretty badass character in the X-Men universe.
Most certainly, most certainly. Kitty had always been pretty badass. She was one of the most popular characters in the 80s, which is why they even made this miniseries, since Wolverine was also very, very popular. But it definitely helped her transition from being a little bit more of the kind of like innocent, I'm not sure what I'm doing, kind of bumbling teenage girl that we knew her as, but really led to her being a very strong solo character who could be a super badass, hold her own on a team, and later on, after she sticks it to freaking Professor Xavier, move to England and make poor decisions with this man.
Oh, the 90s.
God damn you, 90s.
You were a confusing time for us all. Now, going along that same vein, I have brought one of the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics as written by Jane Espenson. Now, I've spoken in the past about how Sabrina the Teenage Witch was really the first comic that I ever read. They sold those in the 7-Eleven around the block from my grandma's house, and I was obsessed. I refused to read, but I loved the Sabrina the Teenage Witch comics, and I didn't know they made comics for other TV shows as well. One day my mom bought home an entire trade paperback from the library of Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics and said, hey, I think you might like this. And that spawned an unhealthy obsession with the Buffy universe. Through comics, I have really come to know and love these characters, and it actually got me reading. So thank you, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Jane Espenson, for actually getting me hooked on phonics.
I'm disappointed that LeVar Burton wasn't the man who helped you there.
And obviously Jane Espenson has stuck around the Buffyverse for many a year, still writing some of the comics and still providing such an amazing voice for the geek community. So that comic is twofold in my heart.
Now, talking about somebody who is just very fundamental and central to a specific universe, the one, the only, the likely to show up at your bachelor party and give you great drunk advice, Mr. Bill Murray.
What a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
Now, if you guys couldn't tell, this is my Murrays, including all of Bill Murray's roles in the Wes Anderson universe up until, and unfortunately not including, Moonrise Kingdom and Grand Budapest Hotel. All of them along the staircase in the Royal Tenenbaums house. And I got this from one of my favorite print shops in Northern California. It was a custom done piece, so it includes my love of locally made art, locally printed art, and most importantly, my love of everything Wes Anderson. He was one of the first directors that I really found on my own and discovered, and who ignited my love of filmmaking and learning more about the craft of filmmaking and everything from lighting design processes to lenses to cameras to who he was making these homages to in his works, and whose universe kind of completely just enamored me and made me love filmmaking as a craft rather than just as something that led to me getting to watch a cool movie.
Hey, if you're watching this, Wes Anderson, Becca's your girl. Now, a filmmaker for me who was very quintessential in me discovering what a true geek I was Steven Spielberg. Now, he is known for some of his blockbuster movies such as Jurassic Park and E.T., but I'm going to kick it back way earlier than that, all the way back to 1991 with Steven Spielberg's classic, Hook.
Oh no, you didn't!
Oh yes, I did! Now, this movie was key in discovering what a true geek I was. Oh, I will get to that. I will get to that. First of all, it showed me that I loved the story of Peter Pan. I had grown up hearing the tales, my mother had read me the bedtime stories, I watched the Disney movie, but this version of Peter Pan is one of my absolute favorites for so many reasons. You get so many great characters like the Lost Boys, Hook, a grown-up Peter Pan, and Peter's kids. It's an amazing universe that people just think is way too campy, but that's where I find half the fun in this movie. And Rufio was one of my first male crushes as a kid, and actually this copy is very, very special to me because it was sent to me by a subscriber named Randy. Randy, you met Rufio at a comic convention and got him to sign this for me. I cannot thank you enough. It inspired my Bangarang Lost Boys tattoo up here.
Look at them goodies.
And it even pushed me to get to interview him for the cosplay ball. Dante Bosco was such an amazing man. He was really important to me as a kid growing up. I didn't realize what a crush I had on him, and then I met him in person and it still held up.
Get a little flustered?
Yes. And Steven Spielberg, as I said, is an amazing director. He has crafted some of the most interesting and intricate stories of our time, and I just love everything that he has done. He, to me, was my first Joss Whedon.
Joss 1.0.
He was Joss before Joss was a thing.
Pre-Joss.
PJ.
To wrap up my geeky selections here, I got a little heavy.
A little heavy? And something that is pure, pure gold.
This is a console that needs no introduction, guys. I mean, if you are a gamer who lived through the 90s, which I would hope you are if you're watching this, because if you were born after the 90s, oh my god, kids born after the 90s could have YouTube channels now!
And they're teenagers.
Well, regardless, I hope you have experienced this beautiful creature that is strong and true and still chugging after so many years. This is my Gold Edition Nintendo 64, which was released with the release of not Pokemon Stadium 1, but Pokemon Stadium 2.
Now, if you're a kid who doesn't know what this is, think of your Nintendo DS, but bigger.
And on your TV. And you can't put it in your pocket. And you can't street pass with anybody.
It's basically a DS without any of the fun.
It's a gaming console, and y'all should know what that is before the day they got on the internet. This was my second gaming console. My first was a Super Nintendo Entertainment System, my Super NES, which has pennies in it right now, it doesn't work. But I got this console, the original black console, when I was 5 after my brother was born for being such a good big sister, and I played it so much that it died. The N64 and I go way back, and so back that it'll never truly leave me. And it'll never be usurped by any other console, no matter how realistic it gets.
I dreamed 64 would never die. I dreamed that I would keep on playing.
Remember your roots, kids. Never forget them.
And my final item for today brings it back to my Disney obsession from way back when.
So cute.
Baby Pegasus. As you can tell, he's a little worse for wear because he is the original Baby Pegasus that I got when I was 7 years old after seeing this movie in theaters. I saw Hercules in theaters, kids.
Bless my soul. Nails on a roll.
And this doll was my everything. It was my original Thunder Buddy. Anytime that there was a thunderstorm, I held it tight, knew that Baby Pegasus would protect me, and unfortunately, it didn't help when my church burned down in the lightning storm.
What?
Hercules was one of the first movies that I ever truly obsessed over from a Disney perspective, and it really opened my eyes as to the amazing world of Disney animation, and from there brought me into the world of Kingdom Hearts. Without Disney, I never would have played Kingdom Hearts. I never would have known what this game was, but I was so fervently obsessed with Disney in middle school that I had to play the game, and it brought a whole new level of geekdom into my life. So Disney, thank you so much for teaming up with Square Enix and bringing us the wonderful game that is Kingdom Hearts, and thank you, Baby Pegasus.
So folks, that is all that Neil and I have for the nostalgia tag today. We would love to hear from you down below in the comments what your most nostalgic geek item is.
Leave us a comment below explaining what your favorite geeky items are from your past and why they're so important to you.
Somebody who loves sharing off his geek passions and who you should definitely go check out is of course James Brent Tiger Monkey Isaacs in his Read This vlog.
What a man, what a man.
What a mighty fine.
Like Bill Murray. We will be back in 2 weeks with another installment of Geeking Out. Until then, be sure to subscribe to the Geek and Sundry Vlogs channel along with our main channels. Becca posts videos on the reg and I post videos on the daily.
Bye guys.
Catch you later, nerds.